All right, so good evening. Good evening, welcome, and happy Sunday. Welcome and happy Sunday. It's a pleasure to be here again and to have you also here as well. All right, so today is the 12th of March, and it's another beautiful day that the Lord has made. So today, I'm very happy to welcome you to another live edition. And this is the first episode of this series. I titled it Making the Most of Your 20's. All right. So if you're here, if you can hear me, if you can see me, just comment below with your name and where you're watching from. All right. You can hear me loud and clear. You can see me. Comment with where you're watching from, even if you're watching the replay later, so that I know where you're tuning in from. All right. Like I was saying, this is a series. This is the episode one, and this series is making the most of your 20's. All right. So the major target, Gift, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. So the major target is people in their 20's, but if you're in your 30's or you're still a teenager, you're not exempted, because you will still need it later. And if you're in your 30's and you're still kind of struggling, you're still seeking direction and all of that, the information or the knowledge, the experience you will get from this series will also serve you well. All right. And as you know, I'm the oracle of value, and I love serving premium value. And so, God helping me, in subsequent editions, in subsequent series, I plan to make this monthly. So we have one series every month by God's grace. And the hope or the plan is that we'll be having guests as well who will be joining me on this series. All right. So we'll be having guest speakers. It may not be every month, but from time to time, we'll be having guests who will be joining us to share their experience, to share their knowledge on how they've been able to navigate and make the most of their 20's. All right. So rest assured, these guests will be people who are doing well in their respective field, who are making the most of their 20's. All right. So if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm sure you can see my name in the description, but I am Godsplan Ugwuja, more commonly known as Pendulum. That's my brand name and my pen name as well, because I'm a writer, I'm a publisher, and I'm a sales expert as well. All right, so I'm Pendulum. That's the name many people know me by. And okay, I'll be 27 in a matter of months. So I'm already in my late 20's. I'll be 27 in a matter of months. And I'll start by, why am I qualified to speak about this? Why am I qualified to show you or to teach you how to make the most of your 20's? Why should you listen to me? And the simple reason is that, by and large, I I am making the most. I will not say I am made, but I am making the most of my 20's. By and large, um, I am successful to a considerable extent, right? Yes, I know that I have not achieved it all. I know I have not made it all. I know I have not, maybe I've not even done a lot, okay? But by comparison and by average or by standard, I've been able to achieve quite a few things. Okay, I have multiple degrees from many universities. I have an OND, I have a BSc. I'm almost done with my youth service. I have two thriving offline businesses. I have online businesses. I have digital skills that are making me money. I have a thriving relationship. I have a blessed family. And so, in almost every aspect, I am making the most of my 20's. I'm making money. I'm living well. Educationally, I'm progressing very well. If all things go according to plan, I should have my PhD before I leave my 20s. If everything goes according to plan, okay, I should have my PhD before I leave my 20s, before, or let's say before I enter early 30s. So by 30, sorry, I should have my PhD. Um, my businesses should have grown. Maybe I'll be married by then, God knows. All right. But the point is, I have attained some level of success. Like I said, I've not achieved it all. And I know there are many people who are far ahead of me. That's why I plan to bring them to join us in this series from time to time. Okay. I don't believe in one person having knowledge. I know there are people that know more than me. I know there are people that have achieved more than me. I know there are people that have made more of their 20s than I have, or that I am making. And so that's why I plan to get them here to join us in subsequent editions. But this is the first edition, and I wanted to begin it by sharing my own experiences and, just telling you one or two things on how you also can make more out of your 20s. Because I've discovered that this 20s is a very confusing time. It's a time when you're still trying to discover yourself. You're still trying to translate from a dependent adult, okay, to someone that's standing on his own. You're just leaving school, you're just leaving your parents' house, or probably you're even still with your parents. You're even still with your parents. You're still, or you're just leaving your parents. You're still trying to find your feet. You're still trying to, make sense of your life. So 20s is a confusing time. It's is a time when a lot of people make mistakes, a lot of people get it wrong, and they spend their 30s, their 40s trying to correct these mistakes they have made. All right. So the whole aim of this is, if I'm able to help you with my own experience to avoid some of these mistakes, then it will be mission accomplished. All right. That's basically the reason behind this series. All right, Stephen, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. All right. So quickly, I don't want us to spend so much time here. I want us to be done before 9 p.m. So in the next 30, 40, 45 minutes, we should be done. All right. So I will implore you to get a pen, get a paper, put down some certain things I'll be saying, because I may not have the time to be typing it and putting it on the screen. All right. So just get a paper, get a pen. Now, if you're in your 20s, you want to make the most of your 20s, you want to live your best life, you want to fulfill destiny, so to say. In your 20s, early 20s, middle 20s, most especially, um, the first advice I'll give you, and the most important advice I can give you, is to seek clarity first and foremost. Seek clarity first and foremost. As you're trying to navigate your 20s, as you're leaving school, as you're leaving your parents' house or you're still with your parents, whatever you're doing, seek clarity first and foremost before you begin to run off in any direction or do this one, look for this job, start this business, enter this relationship, that this or that. Seek clarity first of all. So the first question you must ask yourself is why? Why do you want to do this? Why do I want to do this? Okay. Why do I want to start this business? Why am I looking for this particular job? Okay. Why do I want to go into business? Why do I want to enter this relationship? Why do I want to stay in my parents' house? Why do I want to leave my parents' house? Whatever you're doing, why is the first question you should ask yourself, because why brings clarity. And when you have clarity, then um, you have a direction. You know where you're going. And the beautiful thing about having clarity is that even though distractions will come, even though obstacles will come, even though challenges will come, even though the road will be rough at some certain times, because you know where you're going, you have a greater resolve to overcome. You have a greater resolve to stay the course because you are sure that this is the path for you. You're sure that this is what you want to be doing. This is where you're supposed to be going. And so it's easier for you to stay the course than someone that doesn't have clarity. Any little challenge, they've jumped ship, They change from one course to another course, from one lane to another lane, from one field to another field, because they were not clear in the first place. So they're not even sure that, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so any slight turbulence, they're already jumping ship. So seek clarity first above all. I'll talk more about this later, but put that down for now. Seek clarity first above anything else. Okay. Now, your 20s is all about building and learning. Okay. Your 20s is all about building and learning. I want to believe probably some people started early. I will not even say some of us because I don't believe I started early. But there are people that started early, they started in their teenage to build themselves, okay, to build both their thinking, to build their finances, to build their networks, to build their relationship, to build their businesses. I know teenagers who are making it, who are killing it, both in the online space and in the offline space. Now, these people, I would say they are the lucky ones because they were enlightened on time. Okay, they caught the rema, or they caught the light early enough, so they started with an advantage. All right. But if you are not part of these lucky people, then your 20s is the time. Let's say your teenage, your childhood, you used it to, be a dependent person, depending on your parents, your uncles, living, you know, the same type of life everybody's living. In your 20s, you should focus more on building and learning, building your future. Focus on laying foundations that will carry you throughout the rest of your life. Foundations for your life, foundations, the kind of principles you want your life to be built on. It's in your 20s that you inculcate them. It's in your 20s that you learn the habits, you learn the principles, you learn the beliefs, or you inculcate the beliefs that will carry you through the rest of your life. In your 20s, you begin to cultivate the habits, cultivate the thought patterns, cultivate the processes that will sustain you even when you get into marriage, or when you get into business, or when you get into, maybe when you get a job. Whatever you're going to do later is in your 20s, you begin to build yourself into that person that can have a successful marriage, or that will have a successful marriage, that will succeed in their job, or that will start a business and excel in that business, grow that business, make expand the business, make money from the business, and all of that. So in your 20s, focus more on building and learning. Now, I'm not trying to say that you cannot earn in your 20s. I'm not trying to say you should not make money in your 20s. Okay? It's very important that you also do that. All right? But I say your focus should be more on learn first, build yourself first before you start chasing money. Because when you build yourself and then you go on to make money, you can maintain that money, you can um, multiply that money, you can turn that 1 million into 10 million, into 100 million. And when you build yourself into the kind of person that can make money and multiply money, then even if you lose what you have, even if probably you're scammed of your money, or your first business you started crumbles or whatever, you'll be able to pick yourself up and um, rebuild again, because you've already built yourself. You're the one that is producing the systems, the processes that made that the money you made possible. Okay, but if you've not built yourself and you luckily come into some amount of money, that money will disappear. You will spend it on something and you may not be able to get it back because you got that money by luck, and luck is not something that is repeatable. Luck is not predictable. Okay, so your 20s should be about building yourself, learning, growing, setting foundations, building your networks, building your net worth, building your thought patterns, your mental fortitude, building your character, building your beliefs, and all of that. Okay, so the first 2 points I made was seek clarity, first of all, in your 20s. Seek clarity. Understand why you're going to do anything you want to do. Okay? Then in your 20s, start by focusing on building yourself all round, spiritually, in terms of your relationship, in terms of your friends, in terms of your thinking pattern, in terms of any way, even physically, your body. Focus on building yourself, then focus on learning and then earning. Okay, so that you're making money and you also have the capacity to maintain and multiply that money. You become someone that can attract money, someone that can make money, someone that can multiply money, not someone that money just fell to by chance. All right. And then going forward, please, if you can, if you're following me, you can hear me, and this is making sense. Just drop a comment. Let me know if at least these first 2 points made some sense to you. Okay. Before we go into the meat or the main part of what I have, just drop a comment or an emoji. Let me know if these first two points or this preludes to what I have made some amount of sense to you. If you got anything from it, let me know. All right. And if you have questions, or if you came with questions, or if you have any questions when I'm talking, do well to jot them down. And at the end, just drop them in the comments. Then I will take them at the end of the session. Okay, so drop them in the comments so that I will see them, and then at the end of the session, I will attend to them. All right. So quickly, like I said, I don't want us to waste all the time here. How to make the most of your 20s. Okay, how to make the most of your 20s. I have 6 points. I have 6 points. As outside of the two I've given, or let's say to build on the two I've given, I have 6 points for you. And to make the most of your 20s, number one, I said first know your maker. Okay, first know your maker. First know your maker. Now, I'm not. This is not a religious program, and when I say first know your maker, I'm not trying to tell you to become a religious person or to sort of carry church on your head. But I'm telling you, or I'm imploring you to cultivate a relationship with your maker, with your father, with God. Okay? Come closer to God if you want to make the most of your 20s. Because the truth is, while it is possible, or while we have seen people who are succeeding outside of God, while we've seen people who are making it outside of God, we find out that many of these people, they don't go the distance. And many of them, they eventually come back crashing. Okay? It's only God that can give you good success. It's only God that makes rich without adding sorrow. And when you know your maker, it's easier to know his plans for you. It's easier to know what he put you on this earth to do. It's easier to always inquire from him at different points, at different junctions. It's easier to, have him in your ear, have him in your corner when as you navigate through life. All right. So as much as you can, try to cultivate a relationship with your maker, with God, with your father. All right. Come closer to him, build a relationship with him, know him for yourself, know him personally, beyond what anybody else tells you or what anybody preaches to you about God. Know him for yourself, because he's your father, he's your maker, and knowing him for yourself is an advantage to you. Okay, so you want to make the most of your 20s. First of all, know your maker. Right. Then number two, know yourself. Number two, know yourself. After you know your maker, it's important that you know yourself. Figure out who you are as a person. Okay, figure out who you are as a person. And it is interesting to know that so many of us, we don't even know who we are. We don't know the kind of person we are. We don't know what our personality is. We don't know what our traits are. We don't know what are our strengths, our weaknesses, the places we should be, the places we should not be, the kind of things we should be doing, the kind of things that does not suit us. Many of us are living randomly. Many of us are just walking without direction, without guide, without there's no pattern to the kind of life we are living. And that is because you don't know yourself. If you know yourself, you should know that there are certain things that you should not do. Even if everybody's doing it and they are succeeding, you should know that this thing is not for me. And you should know that there are certain places that you should be able to go to, or certain let's say certain line of business or certain jobs that you should be looking for, because these are in line with your strengths, these are in line with um your abilities, your gifts, your talents. So know yourself. It's very, very important. You want to make the most of your 20's, of your life in general. Know yourself. Get in touch with your personality. Who are you? Who are you? What kind of person are you? Okay? What kind of person are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your traits? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What has God blessed you with? What is that special thing you can do without stress? What is that special thing you can do without so much strain? That thing that you do with ease, that other people do with please, that other people stress themselves to do, but you can do it in your sleep. Many of us have not discovered ourselves, and that is why you're struggling. Apart from, even if you keep the God factor aside, keep knowing your maker aside, many of us are simply struggling because you don't know yourself. Many of us are struggling because you don't know yourself. You don't know yourself. You don't know the circles where you should be playing. You don't know the fields where you should be exploring. And so you're anywhere, you are everywhere. And at the end of the day, you're making movement, but there's no motion. You're going around in circles. Today you take one step forward, next tomorrow you take two steps backward. But if you know yourself, you'll be able to streamline your activities. You'll be able to focus on those things that are your strong suits, those places where your abilities are magnified. You'll be able to dance to the music that suits you. So it's important. Please take time, get to know yourself. Who are you? What's your personality? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What do you do easily? What do you do specially? What is that thing that if they mention it, even though you may not be the best in the world at it, you are very, very good at it. Even sometimes, even without training, sometimes even without any special guide, you just do this thing and people are amazed. People are like, wow, how did you do this? But for you, it's nothing. If you're able to identify those areas, those places where you excel, and you stick to them, whether they are popular or not. See, the truth is, go and do your research. There is no place, there is no area, there is no field on this planet where you don't find successful people. They are successful footballers, they are successful doctors, they are successful engineers, they are successful musicians, they are successful politicians, they are successful artisans, they are successful craftsmen, they are successful pastors. Every field of life, there are successful people there, and there are also people in those same fields who are failing. There are also people in those same fields who are not doing well. So find your area of strength and play in it. And if you're here, if you're listening to me, Oludare, thank you. Know your maker, know yourself. If you're here, you're listening to me, and you're not yet clear on what are your gifts, what are your talents, what are your strengths, what are those special things that you've been blessed with, then I think sometime last year I had a session on how to identify your gifts and talents. It's on this channel. So probably after this session, you can just go through my channel. You will see that session on how to identify your gift and talent and turn it into wealth. How to make money from what you've been blessed with. How to monetize your strengths, your talents, your gifts. All right. So know your maker, know yourself. Number 3 point is figure out what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be. Now you can see that all these points are interlinked. When you've known yourself, when you've figured out who you are, figure out what you're supposed to do on this earth, figure out what you were put here to do, figure out where were you supposed to be, or where do you want to be, first of all. Where do you want to be? what were you supposed to do on this earth? What were you put here to do? Every one of us has a purpose, whether you know it or not, whether you are living it or not, whether you believe it or not. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone was put here to fit into a particular space, to occupy a particular position, to do a certain thing for a certain period. Every one of us, we have our place, we have our space, we have our area where we were made and gifted specially to occupy. So you need to figure out what you were supposed to do. What were you put on this earth for? What is your purpose? What is the reason you were created? What is your, I don't want to call it your destiny, because destiny is wide. Destiny encompasses so many things. But what is your purpose? Where do you want to be? What is that, or where is that place where you will be and you find fulfillment? Where is that area? What is that area? What is that um, industry? What is that pop? What do I put it? What is that industry? What's that area where you will be, where you will be operating, and you find the most purpose, you find the most satisfaction, you find that you're helping, you're blessing the greatest number of people. You're making a real impact in people's lives, even if you're not doing it primarily for the money, but you're making impact, you're blessing people. And the truth is this: there is no way you can be a blessing without being blessed yourself. It is not possible for you to be a blessing without being blessed. As long as you're blessing people, you're helping people, you are showing people light in any area, in a particular way, you're helping people find their bearings, find themselves, find their direction, find their foot. You're helping people move forward. Directly or indirectly, you also be blessed. People will also reciprocate. People will also be giving to you the way they can. I'm not even talking about the one that God will bless you on his own. I'm talking about people will still bless you because you have been a blessing to them. All right. So I said one, figure out who you are, figure out um first know your maker, then know yourself, and then figure out where you're supposed to be. What is your purpose? Okay, and how do you find your purpose? Um, one of the easiest ways to find your purpose is to ask your maker. That's why I started by saying first know your maker, be close to your maker, have a relationship with your maker. Okay, so he's the one that made you, he's the one that put you on this earth for a reason. And so if you're close to him, if you have a relationship with him, you can ask him for, or to point out where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, what your purpose is, right? Then, apart from that, apart from praying, apart from asking God, your purpose or what you're supposed to do is the area, the place where you find the most fulfillment, where you find peace. It may not be the area that is paying your bills. It may not be the area that is, bringing in the money, but it's the place where you find fulfillment. You do it and you're at peace. You do it and you find there's joy. You find fulfillment. You see, and you're making the greatest impact. You may have another place where you are, maybe a job you're doing or a business you have, where money is coming from. But this area of your purpose is a place where it could be something little. It could be just, maybe serving as, maybe head of planning committee for an organization in your church. It could just be that you're a writer, you're writing a blog, or you're writing on your maybe social media handles. It could be that, it could be something little, but you're finding out that people are being blessed, people are being impacted by that little thing you're doing. That could be where you're supposed to, what you're supposed to do. So the place where you are that you find the most satisfaction, the most fulfillment. Okay. And another thing, what you're supposed to do is always in line with your gifts. Okay, it's always in line with your talents. God gave you those gifts to help you accomplish your purpose. Those gifts are given to you to help facilitate your assignment on earth. All right, so if you're able to figure out your gifts, then it's easier for you to figure out where those gifts are supposed to be applied. So if you figure out what are your strengths, what are your gifts, what are your talents, what has God blessed you with, then the places where those gifts can be applied, or where those gifts can find manifestation, where those gifts can be, plugged in or embedded for it to bring out results, is where you're supposed to be, is what you're supposed to be doing, and is where you should endeavor or look to be. All right. So all this will not happen in a day. It's a process. But that's why I said clarity. If you have this clarity, if you know that, okay, this is who I am. See, there's power in knowing who you are. Because if you know who you are, like I said, you cannot be distracted. People can bring things to you and you say no because you know that this is not for me. That thing may not be bad though. It may not be that that thing is bad, but you just know it's not for me. You know that this is not my area, this is not me. Other people can do it, but this is not me. I have my area. I know what aligns with my personality. I know what aligns with who I am. Then you figure out your strengths. Okay, your strengths are always linked to your personality. Your strength is always your gift. Your talent is always linked to the kind of person you are. And then your strengths are given for your assignment. They are given to oil your purpose. So where those gifts can be applied, those places where those gifts can be, imputed to produce an output that blesses life, that changes the world, that helps people, is your purpose, is what you're supposed to do, is where you're supposed to be. So if you figure out all these out, like I said, it's a process. You will not suddenly become your best self or become the person you're supposed to be in a day or in a week. But if you have this roadmap figured out, then you can walk through life. You can go on this journey without fear, without confusion, because you know where you're going. You know that, okay, even if there is storm, there is hold up. If you're going to Lagos today and you know where you're going, you know your destination, you have clarity on that journey. Even if there's hold up on the road, even if rain is maybe the weather elements are not good, even if you have to take another route, maybe there's a diversion and you need to follow another route, you're not afraid, you're not scared, you're not confused, because you know where you're heading to. You know at the end of the day, you're going to Lagos. So that's why I started with clarity. That's why I keep mentioning clarity. And even at the end of the day, all these points I'm giving you is just to help you find clarity, help you know where you're supposed to be going, what you're supposed to be doing, and how it all fits together. All right. So I've given you 3 points. I first of all said seek clarity above all. Then I made the point that your 20s is all about, first of all, learning, building yourself before you even start earning. I never said you should not earn in your 20s. Don't get me wrong. But before you put your emphasis on earning, first of all, build a foundation that can even hold that wealth. Build yourself to reach that level where you can maintain the wealth you want to get. Okay? Then I said, know your maker, know yourself, know what you're supposed to do. And then the fourth point or the next point, okay, Queen, welcome, gift. Oludare, thank you. Please, as I'm talking, you can be putting the points in the comments. Okay, be dropping down in the comments so that I'll be putting it up on the screen. So any point that makes sense to you, just put it in the comments so that I can put it up on the screen. Okay, so thank you. I'm glad you people are getting some sense from what I'm saying. All right. So the fourth point is, now you figured out who you are, you figured out your strengths and what you're supposed to do. Next thing is you need to plot a course from where you are to where you're supposed to be. Okay, you need to plot a course. You need to draw a map, create a blueprint from how you're going to move from where you are now, from the kind of person you are now, to the kind of person you're meant to be, or the kind of person you're supposed to be to make the most of your 20s. So what are you going to do how are you going to move from the kind of person you are now, or the place you are now in your life? How are you going? Okay, let's even talk about financially, for instance. Let's say you've made up your mind that you want to be financially free. You want to get to a point where money is not your problem, where you can use your money to support the less privileged, to support the needy, to support the gospel, whatever. Let's say that is where you want to be. Now, plot a course. Now you're a student, you don't have money, or finances are tight. How are you going to go from being a student who doesn't have money to being someone maybe in a year, in 2 years, who has enough for themselves, even to help others? How are you going to make that transition? How are you going to move? Okay, what is your journey going to be like? Are you going to learn a skill, for instance, or are you going to start a business? Are you going to find a job? I'm talking about um, the aspect of I'm talking about finances now. Okay, how are you going to move when it comes to finances? So how are you going to move? Are you going to learn a skill? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to get a job? How are you going to change your financial status? What are you going to do to change your financial status, to move from a student who is, struggling with cash to somebody who has enough? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to start begging people for money? Obviously, that is not a recommended route. Are you going to look for a job, or are you going to look for jobs? What are you going to do? How are you going to move from where you are to where you want to be, or to where you're supposed to be? So you need to plot a course. You need to sit down and look at, okay, what is the best route for me, or where do I pass? And one easy way to plot a course is to look at those that have gone ahead of you. Somebody said, I don't remember the person, but he said that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. See, there's almost nothing you want to do. There's no almost anywhere you want to be, or anywhere you want to go, that somebody has not gone. There is almost nothing you want to do, or nothing you want to be, that somebody else has not done or become. So if you're able to look at these people and model their path, model their growth, learn from them how they went from when they were at your stage. How did they go from that stage to where they are now? What was their path? What was their process? What did they go through? If you're able to follow them and model it, I didn't say copy, because everybody's journey is unique. Everybody will face peculiar and personal processes and challenges and obstacles on their journey. But most people go through the same journey, just with different vehicles, different obstacles, but it's the same journey. So if you're able to model their journey, model their path, and then you go through that same path, obviously with your own personal experiences, you're likely to end up the same place they ended up, or you may even go past them. Right? So how do you plot a course from where you are to where you want to be? Is to learn from those that have gone ahead of you. Model the life of people. Let's say, okay, I talked about finances. Let me talk about ministry now. Let's say where you are a backup singer in a choir, and for all intents and purposes, you're not known. Okay, you're still undiscovered, for instance. That is where you are now. And where you want to be, or where you're supposed to be, is maybe a worldwide singer or an internationally recognized singer. That is where you want to be. Now, how do you go from there? We can model somebody who is currently an international singer, and model their path. How did they go? Because they didn't just wake up one day and become an international singer. They were not born that way. They started from you, where you are. You may even have started better than them. At least you're in the choir. Some of them were never in the choir. But they started from somewhere around your level, maybe below your level, sir, and they started moving, they started growing, they started passing through a stage or stages, processes, and all of that. before they climb to where they went to. So if you can model that same path they took, model that same journey they went through, then you have a blueprint to follow. You have a map to follow. Even when you're following that map, you will still have your own, you know, personal and peculiar challenges that you must go through and face for yourself. Okay, but at least now you know the direction you're taking, and you also know the outcome at the end. You know what is awaiting you when you get to the end of that road. So plot a course from where you are to where you want to be, and one of the best ways to do that, follow those who have gone ahead of you. Okay, get mentorship, get mentorship, get mentorship. Many of us are struggling unnecessarily trying to figure everything out by yourself. Why are you doing that when there are people who have gone through that route and they can share their experience with you? They can share their wisdom with you. They can share what they have learned. They can guide you with the benefit of hindsight. They say hindsight is golden. There are people that have gone through their path. You're struggling in ministry as a young pastor and you want to do it on yourself. But there are people that have gone through that and they've made it in ministry. Why not get mentored by them? You're struggling as a writer. There are writers who have made it or who are making it. Why not go get mentored by them? You're struggling in any area. As a student, you're struggling. But there are people who have gone through school, who excelled in school. Why not get mentored by them? Why not learn from them, directly or indirectly? So there's no need. I don't see the sense in struggling on your own when you have people who have gone through your path, when you have people who have gone ahead of you. Many a times you're the one that is just holding yourself back. When mentorship may just be the only bridge that needs to take you from point A to point F or point G along your journey. The shortest route from where you are to where you want to be is mentorship. Is mentorship. Because mentorship is not trial by error, it's experience. Somebody that has gone through that path, they know all the nooks and crannies of that road, is now leading you down that road. Okay? Mentorship and God's grace, God's favor. That's the shortest distance from where you are to where you want to be. So I said plot a course from where you are to where you want to be. Get mentorship. Okay? Learn from those ahead of you. Okay, if you cannot get them to mentor you, you can still learn from them vicariously. As you learn from them indirectly, learn from their books. Okay, learn from their social media handles. These days it's very easy to learn from people. Imagine you are living in the 1980s, where maybe your role models, you can't even see them. Maybe the only way you can learn from them is through books, and to even get the books will be difficult. But today, many of them, they have blogs. You can learn from their blogs. They are giving interviews all the time. Learn from their interviews, read their books, follow them on social media, and learn from what they put out. That's one way to go from where you are. If you cannot get access to these people to mentor you, then learn from what they put out. Learn from what they put out. Take one person, and Prof. Akpe, Emmanuel Akpe, said something that take one person and study that person, consume all their interviews, read all their books, read all their autobiographies, follow them on social media, join their mailing list. Just consume everything they put out. That is how you replicate that person in you. If you cannot get access to the person directly. And another thing I want to state about mentorship, many of us, we are at point, let's say you are at point 2 and you want to get somebody at point 10 to mentor you. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult because the difference between your level and that person's level is much. The difference is massive. Okay, so instead of many of us will fold our hands. Okay, I've tried to get this person to mentor me now. I've sent the person a message. The person is not replying me. I've tried to get the person. So you fold your hands. Instead of that, you're at point 2 and you want to get to point 10. You're looking for somebody at point 10 to mentor you and it's not working. Why not look for somebody around point 5 or point 6? Someone that is closer to your level. Someone you have more access to mentor you, take you from 2 to 5 or 2 to 6. And then when you get to that person's level, you can change mentors. There's nothing that says that one person must mentor you for life. No. When you grow to that person's level, obviously that person should be growing as well. So you should not even be able to get to their level. But let's say the person is not growing, but the person is at 0.5 or 0.6 and you're at 0.2. Instead of waiting for somebody from 0.10 to mentor you, that will be very difficult. That person at 0.5, 0.4, 0.6 is closer to you. It's easier to get in touch with that person. It's easier for that person to, mentor you, help you get from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. And when you get to that point, you can now look for a mentor at a higher level. You can grow in mentorship. You can grow in the level of mentors you have. Someone who is your mentor today can become your ex-mentor. It doesn't mean you quarrel with the person or you will fall out. No. You just get to a level where you feel, okay, you need a higher level of information, or you need higher level of access, you need higher level of experiences. And you grow, you change mentors, you look for somebody higher. That person may even help you to get access to a mentor that is, higher than himself or herself. So please, don't stay where you are. You're in 0.2, you're looking for somebody in 0.20 to come and mentor you. The gap is too much. Most of the time, it's not that they don't want to mentor you, but coming down from 2 to 2, from 20 to 2 is a big journey. So find people closer to your level and grow bit by bit. That person will take you some part of the way. Without the person, you can still remain friends. You can even still be your mentor, and you get another mentor, a higher mentor that takes you another part of the way, and you keep growing like that. So don't fold your hands and say, okay, this person is not does not want to mentor me, and you fold your hands. No. Learn from people closer to your level and grow like that. Okay. The fifth step, I hope you guys are following. Thank you for your comment. You do with ease when others do it with please. It's not breeze. You do it with ease, others do it with please. As other people do it with stress, they do it with, they need to beg, they need to, put a lot of energy, a lot of effort into it, but you do it with ease, right? That's what I said. Then I also said, after plotting a course from where you are to where you want to be, and I've told you how to do that, then take steps to back up your plans. Okay, so that one is more or less very, very straightforward. Okay, you've plotted a course. I said, learn from people, get mentorship. Now, I'm now encouraging you, take steps to do what you've said you will do. Okay, you've decided that, okay, you're going to be reading books, you're going to be taking courses, you're going to be investing in yourself, you're going to make better friends, you're going to expand your circle, you're going to build better networks, you're going to start a business, you're going to get a job, you're going to build your spiritual life. Whatever you have decided, whatever course you've plotted, you see, I deliberately not told you any specific thing to do. I'm not telling you that this is the best way. I believe everybody has their own way. Everybody has their own path. So I'll never come and tell you this is what you should do, this is the way you should follow. No, figure out your own way and follow it. All right. But that thing you've figured out, that thing you've planned to do, that thing you've decided is the best thing for you, go on to take steps to achieve it. Many of us, we make plans, but then we don't do anything with the plans. Many of us in physics, there's this force called inertia, the reluctance of a body at rest to start moving. Is a force that keeps bodies at rest. It makes them reluctant to start moving. Inertia keeps many of us at rest. We have plans. We decided, okay, many of us at the beginning of the year, we made New Year resolutions. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Why are you not doing them yet? This is March. Why are you not doing them yet? You make plans, but we don't follow through on the plans. And many times you have excuses. You have reasons that are reasonable. But at the end of the day, you have still not done what you said you would do. You have still not done what you said you would do. So follow through on your plans. Take steps to back up what you said you will do. You said you will start reading more, read more, invest in books, and not just getting books or buying books. Actually read them. I know people who have taken accountability programs, even paid, so that accountability partners follow them up to make sure they read books that they bought or take courses that they bought. Follow through on your plans. Make plans and follow through on your plans. If you said you're going to make more friends, then start making more friends. You can even set a weekly goal or make a chart. Okay, every week you must meet 2 new people, make 2 new friends. You're going to expand your circle. You're going to expand your network. Start doing it. You're going to learn a skill. Start learn. Not stop going to learn the skill. Stop going to. Every time I'm going to, I will. Stop willing, start doing. That's one of my favorite quotes. Stop willing, start doing. I will, I will. Where there's a will, there's a way. There will not be any way if you don't move. If you like, have all the will and you don't move from where you are, the way that is there is useless. It will not benefit you. So stop willing, take steps, take steps. You have decided you're going to learn a skill. Learn the skill. Pay. Some of you decided to want to learn this skill. Okay, pay to learn the skill now is difficult. You don't want to release that money. Take steps to back up what you've said you will do. Take steps to back up. See, nobody decided for you. You said this is the best thing for me. Okay, this is the best thing for my business. Oh yeah, now do what you said you will do. You will find a reason to discourage yourself. You will find a reason to why you should not do it today. There is no day called tomorrow. There is no day called tomorrow. There's no day you will reach and it will be tomorrow. By tomorrow, tomorrow will become today, and there will be another tomorrow. So take steps, follow. If you know this is what you want to do, and you know why you want to do it, you know the reason behind your action, you know what you're planning to gain at the end. Take steps. Start today. Go and buy that course. Take that course. If you know that for whatever reason you will not follow through on the course, buy accountability. If you want, meet me. I know accountability coaches. They will follow you up until you read that course, until you go through that course. Learn the skill, build your network. You want to invest in your spiritual life. You say you want to start praying. You are wanting to start today. Get a prayer partner. Start now. Fix a time that you pray if that's what you want to do. You say you want to start a business. Today is Sunday. Tomorrow, go and register your business name. Go and register your business name. See, the hardest part of anything is to start, because once you start, that momentum will carry you. I'm not saying there will not be challenges along the way, but once you overcome that inertia and you start, you have momentum that will help you overcome whatever challenges you meet. But if you don't start, you're not going anywhere. So please take steps on what you have decided that you want to do. That plan you have made, the course you have plotted for yourself, take steps in that direction. All right. And then the final point, you're in your 20s. Don't be afraid to take risks. Okay. See, you have time. You have time. You're in your 20s. You're a teenager. You have time. You have time. Don't be afraid to take risks. Okay. You do it, it doesn't work out. As far as you don't die, you will learn from it, you will recover. Most of you, if you're still in school, you even have a safety net. You have parents who are still giving you money. You have uncles you can call. Right? So do not be afraid to take risks. I'm not asking you to blindly run into anything. Do your assessment, do your feasibility studies. Make sure that this thing you're going to do has a good probability of success. Risk does not mean that if you just jump into anything. No. I know everything has probability of success and failing, but you should have a good enough probability of success. 30%, 40%, 50% probability of success. Those are good odds. It's not when you want to do something, it has 5% probability of success. That's not a risk. That's just you either want to waste your money or your time. Okay, so but don't be afraid to take risks. See, the reason you should not do something is because it is better not to do it not because you're afraid, not because you just believe that it will not fail, will not succeed. How do you know it will not succeed? What is your Have you done your feasibility studies? Have you assessed that risk? Have you even looked into it? I tell people, don't be too quick to say no. Some of you, before they even tell you anything, you've closed your mind. You've said no. Before they tell you of any opportunity, you've said no. Your mind is already closed. That is not the mindset of someone who is growing. Okay, have an open mind. Don't be afraid to take risk. You see an opportunity, assess it, ask questions, assess it. Is it is it viable enough? Is it viable enough? Now, how do you assess risks? I put this on my status some days ago. I put this on my status some days ago. Sorry. I put this on my status some days ago. Now, Benjamin Cassin gave in his book, Take That Risk, he gave it a very, very powerful risk assessment strategy. And I like sharing it. If you can get that book, read it. Take that risk. Now, I said, whenever you want to do something, whenever there are opportunities in front of you, there are risks in front of you that you want to assess, ask yourself 4 questions. Number one, what is the best thing that can happen if I do this? If I start this business, if I learn this skill, if I start this job, what is the best thing that can happen if I do this? Number two, what is the worst thing that can happen if I do this? Ask yourself these questions and find the answers honestly, objectively. What is the best thing that can happen if I do this? If I take this step? What is the worst thing that can happen, the worst case scenario, if I take this step? What is the best thing that's the third question. What's the best thing that can happen if I don't do this? If I decide to, you know, forgo this opportunity, what's the best thing that can happen if I don't do this? And then what is the worst thing that can happen if I don't do this? What's the worst thing that can happen if I decide, okay, I don't want to invest in this, I don't want to do this? What's the worst thing that can happen? What do I stand to lose? If you're able to answer these questions honestly, objectively, it will help you to assess that risk and know if it's worth taking. All right. So don't be afraid to take risk. Don't be afraid. Many of you, anything that resembles risk, you run from it. There is nothing that you will see that will be 100% safe. Going to bed, there's a risk that you will not wake up. Eating, there's a risk that your food can choke you. Go online and in fact, just go and search for 1,000 ways to die. You know that people die from eating, people die from sleeping. Drinking water alone can kill you. But does that stop you from drinking water? Does that stop you from sleeping? No. So everything is a risk. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to give things a go. There are things you try. Last year, I think it was last year, I decided to, those of you that follow me on WhatsApp, you know about my WhatsApp ad agency. I decided to start that thing last year. I don't think, okay, I think I saw something like that before, but it was not being run well. So I decided to improve on it and then start my own. So I didn't have much to copy or to model on. Sorry, I didn't have much to model on, but and I didn't even know if it would succeed or not. I didn't know if anything would come out from it. I didn't know if people would buy into it. Okay, but I knew what I wanted to achieve. I knew how I wanted the business to run. I knew I had a structure for it, and I decided to take that risk. I decided to do everything, create the flyer, create everything about the agency, and put it out there. And something that I started just, let's try. It's over a year. It started in January 2022, and this is March 2023. It's over a year. We've had close to, in fact, I've stopped keeping count, but I know we've had hundreds of clients. Many of them have been repeat clients, and that business has made me, let's say, net over 500,000 in about a year. net profit, over half a million in about a year. And the business I started with how much? Just the money for flyer. And I don't think I picked it up to 10,000 to start it. All right. So don't be afraid to take risks. If I said, okay, I will not do this, it will not work. People will not. People are just running ad on their status. You want to do agency. Nobody will buy into it. How do you know? How do you know? John Maxwell said, fail forward. Fail forward. When you try something, it doesn't work. Learn from it and continue. That's failing forward. Failing forward. You try something, it doesn't work. It doesn't mean you should give up or go and relax. Continue. Move ahead. Learn from it. Try the next one. Someone said you get 4 no's before you get 1 yes. So that means you should fail faster. Get the no's faster so that you can get to the yes. You need to fail, get 4 no's before you get 1 yes. So if you're looking for 5 yes, you need about 80 no's. Abi? 4 times 5. 20 no's, sorry. So fail faster, fail forward. I'm not telling you that you must fail before you succeed. No. But most times, let failure not stop you. Let In fact, not even failure. Failure is not even what is stopping most of us. It's the fear of failure. You've not even failed though. You're just afraid that you may fail. You're just afraid that this may not work. You're just afraid that this person will not reply you. You're just afraid that if I start this thing, it will not work. If I learn this skill, I will not make money from it. If I approach this person to join my network or to be my friend, they will not do this. How do you know? How do you know? How? Okay, and most of the time, ask yourself, like I said, what's the worst that can happen? You do it, it does not work. Okay, nobody, you did not die. You did not continue. People have lost bigger investments. Please, I'm not asking you to throw your money away. What I'm trying to tell you is that put it in perspective. Put it in perspective. How much to learn that skill is how much? Maybe 5,000. And that's what you're doing as if your life depends on it. You're doing as if you put that 5,000 and it does not work out, the whole world will end. It will not end. It will not end. So feel forward, feel faster. Do not be afraid to take risk. All right. If you have questions, please put it in the comment. We've already stayed over an hour. If you have questions, put it in the comment. Then in conclusion, remain level-headed. Remain level-headed. Okay. Whether you're succeeding or you're not succeeding in your 20s, remain level-headed. Don't allow success get into your head. Like I said, there are people in their 20s who are succeeding. You may be succeeding, you may be making money, or you're succeeding in other areas. Maybe your spiritual life is booming. Maybe in terms of friends, relationship, you have a good network or a wide, let's say, profitable network. Maybe you have a good job. Remain level-headed. Don't allow success get to your head. Because most people, when they begin to see some level of results, some level of success, it gets to their head. They forget what brought them there. They forget the things that gave them what they have. And that's why people fall. That's why people become I get them before. So please remain level-headed. What took you there needs to at least maintain you there. It may not be enough to take you forward, but you need to at least remain where you are. So if you get to where you're going, you're succeeding, you're getting money. Some of you make a little money and you begin to flaunt it anyhow. You begin to spend as if Dangote is your uncle. You make a little money. You start your business, and in the first year you have a profit of 500,000. You go and buy a phone of 400,000, and later you find yourself struggling. Remain level-headed. I'm not asking you not to get a new phone, but spend reasonably. Get a phone that can serve your purpose, that will not eat into your whole profit and leave you struggling. After 1 year, you're now starting from scratch again. Remain level-headed. And even if you're not succeeding, even if you're struggling, eh, don't allow that depression or that criticism get to you. Like I said, you have time. Everybody's time is different. People will make it at 21. People will make it at 28. People will make it at 35. People will make it at 40. So I'm not asking you to be lazy. I'm not asking you to fold your hand and relax, but remain level-headed. Don't allow that pressure, that depression. See, as long as you know you're on your path and you're doing the right things, I can assure you with all confidence that your time will come. I can assure you with every confidence that your time will come. If you're doing the wrong thing, then it will not come. But you know you're on your path, you're doing the right thing, your time will come. People have different times. Some people will make it at 20, some will be at 27. But the point is, your time will come. So you remain level-headed. Some people, you allow depression, you allow pressure, you allow criticism just get you down. Some will go and commit suicide. That okay, at 22 you've not made it, you're going to commit suicide at 22. At 22, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Most of the successful people will know today. Check when they finally broke through. Some of them broke through in their 30s, some in their late 20s, some in their 40s. Warren Buffett became a billionaire at 60. I'm not telling you to wait till 60, but I'm telling you, please remain level-headed. You're succeeding, no, remain level-headed. Don't allow success, don't allow praise, don't allow the height you're getting to begin to get to your head, because you will fall. I think it was Corinthians that said, you that think you're standing, be careful, take heed before you fall. Okay? And if you're not standing, continue doing the things you're doing. If they are the right things, you will get to where you need to be. Your time will come. The Bible says time and chance happens to everybody. Be consistent in what you're doing. Be consistent in doing the right thing. Okay? You're succeeding, no? Be consistent in doing what you did that brought you there and improve on them. You're not succeeding, no? Be consistent in doing the right thing. Your time will come. And when your time comes, you'll find out that everything you've been doing before that looks as if nothing is coming out of it, that looks as if it has been useless, you find out that your work has not been wasting, your work has been stored, your work has been compounding for you. And that's why you find out that sometimes it's as if people blow. All of a sudden, they just explode. They did not blow. They've been working before in secret. They've been doing their best, just that their time had not come. And when their time comes, everything they have done compounds and they shoot. So please remain level-headed. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. This is an hour and 7 minutes, and many of you have continued here. So thank you. Please, if you have questions, ask. If there's no questions, let us end this. Queen, thank you for being here. I see your comments. Gift, thank you. Oludare, thank you. Sunday, God bless you. If you're watching this as a replay, don't forget, let me know what you learned. Okay? Let me know. I mentioned a lot today. What is your biggest takeaway? What stuck with you most? All right? Make sure you drop a comment. Like this session, drop a comment, and do well to share it as well. If it blessed you, if something in everything I've said really struck a nerve with you, do well to share it. Okay, do well to share. You can copy the link, put it on your status. Let your friends, your family watch. Okay, give them something valuable to feed on as well as you just fed. All right. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, no questions. God bless you. Thank you too for being here. Next month we will have another session, and God willing, we'll be having a guest. All right. So I may not be the one sharing next month. Somebody else will be here to share as a guest. All right. So if you're here, you're not following me on WhatsApp, you've not saved my contact, you're missing out on a lot. I share a lot of value every day. I share a lot of amusing content as well, because I believe it should be work and play. So as you're learning, you're also laughing. So if you've not connected with me on WhatsApp, do well. Let me drop my number. You can send me a message on WhatsApp so we can connect. You can see my status, I can see your status, and you learn from me. I learn from you as well. All right, so that's my WhatsApp number. do well to connect with me. Thank you for being here. Keep doing your best. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep pushing. Keep going on your path. Like I said, your time will come. All right? Your time will come. God bless you, and we'll see some other time.